Azette.
I'm Jerome.
And we are back in action.
Yes, it's been a while.
It's been a while, yes.
A very while.
A couple of months. And a few of our subscribers have been asking what's happening. Are you guys waiting until you have a baby to come back?
No babies.
Where are the episodes? So we took a step back to kind of work on us to be merrier.
Yes, we are.
And a lot of things happen.
A whole lot.
As you can notice, we are in a new environment.
And it's been a very peaceful environment.
It's been a blessing.
Yes, it has been
peaceful and a blessing to have our own space.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've grown.
Yes, we have.
We have grown a lot.
So what is today's episode again about?
Today's episode, we're really gonna be interviewing each other because we've been married for 3 years?
3 whole years.
3 years.
And we ain't dead.
And I haven't.
Yeah.
Committed murder.
And neither have I.
So we're just gonna do a quick interview just to see where we are, and we encourage new couples like ourselves, because we're no experts, to check in with each other every now and again. This is supposed to happen on date nights, really. Check in on each other as to how we have grown and what needs improvement. So we're gonna go into that now.
So, first question.
My first question.
Oh, okay.
My first question. How have you grown? How do you think you have grown since we've gotten married?
Well, have I grown? Yes, I've grown. I've grown to realize that I have another person to take care of. I have a responsibility, so my decision is not solely based upon myself alone. I also have to think about you, think about my wife when I'm making decisions. So definitely, that's been a big responsibility, and I think that I've been okay so far with it. I think, right? Maybe. Okay. Maybe that's why I'm not dead. But anyway.
Well, he's very teachable, so I love that about him. That's one of the qualities why I married him. He's not one hung up on his ego a lot. It does happen, but not a lot where if I point out something that he's doing, he'll be like, oh no, well, you do this. Definitely hate that. That was a deal breaker for me. How I've seen you grown is you take criticism very well and you learn from it, right? So before you were like a blank slate. And over the 3 years I've seen that slate kind of I'm writing what I like, and that slate, I see that slate being filled up, and you've been a good servant leader.
Okay, praise the Lord. So how has marriage made you mature? How would you have you better off, or
I think marriage has made me more patient.
Okay.
Definitely more patient, because my personality type, and we did that episode of that, being the whole caloric cut. I'll just cut you off and just do things myself. Marriage doesn't give you that.
Not the option.
You can't just take your toothbrush up and be like, I'm out. He ain't getting with the program, I'm out. So definitely a lot of prayer, definitely a lot of, okay, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. I'm a go-getter, but then you're like, all right then. What is more important? The lesson that God wants me to learn from this situation so I can be kingdom ready, or getting everything that I believe I need, every earthly thing that I need to get ahead, to look like the world's level of success.
Okay.
So I had to learn that lesson that, hey, success really is looking like Christ.
Absolutely.
And not what the world says is success.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of peace to that as well,
There is a lot of peace.
It brings you a lot of peace, because there's this purpose, purpose coming to focus now.
But there has to be a balance of learning that, okay, I really need to get up off my butt and get this done so the bills can be paid. Okay. But not getting depressed if an achievement is not made, according to my timeline. Okay. I haven't done my PhD yet, and I'm 40. What's going on? That kind of thing. It's like, how important is a PhD right now for me to get to heaven, or is it that important?
And sometimes these things have a negative effect on your marriage. So you have to be careful, prayerful. Talk to each other, ask questions, to make each other are on the same
same page.
And right. That's extremely important.
We're not opponents. We're team members.
Yeah. So.
And marriage is He gives 100%, I give 100%, but sometimes I can't give 100. I have to give 5. Whatever I'm going through, I can only give 5, and he has to come up with the rest of it.
Absolutely.
Right.
So that's, yeah.
Okay. Next question.
Was you?
I just asked you a question and I answered the same question, but I'm gonna ask you a question again. What's your favorite thing about our marriage?
One of the favorite thing about marriage, I would say that we don't have no arguments. We talk about stuff. If she has an issue with me, we talk about it. So that's one of my favorite things. My other favorite thing is that we're kind of like night and day, but it works out.
We're opposite in every way,
but it works.
But we have core values,
yeah.
So that is what makes it work.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing about our marriage is that you're not the typical traditional kind of husband where you have these demands, this traditional gender rule thing. Of course, we spoke about this before we got married. What chores do you think are female rules or the wife rule? Or things to do at our own house. I'm a man, I'm not doing that. We definitely had that discussion. So I appreciate that you were true to that from our courtship. And in our marriage, I don't have to be, I definitely have to cook, or he's gonna be mad, I have to clean, or he's gonna be mad. I don't have to worry about that. You come home and you see that, okay, maybe she wasn't in a good mood today. And the carpet, he loves the carpet clean. Oh, yeah. The carpet is not as clean as I want it. Instead of throwing a tantrum, he'll just clean it. Yeah. And that's it. Right? I know he said that we don't argue. We have disagreements. We have intense disagreements. But we're mature enough to know that we're not going to have a screaming match. Yeah. Or I'm not going to talk about it until I have checked myself and see, am I the one who is just being sensitive here? Was that a trigger for me? Am I just being too dramatic about this? Once I check myself and I'm like, no, he wrong. I can talk to him. I talked to him about it and he's like, oh, okay, all right. And then he fix it, or we come to a compromise. Yeah.
So that's extremely important. How has marriage been for you? Meaning that when you were, before you got married, how did you think marriage was gonna work out? What they call it now? Did you have some kind of
expectation?
Like expectation.
I had a whole lot of expectations that because we entered marriage with 2 different strategies. Even though we listened to all these sermons and we had all these questions answered and tests and whatnot, and I asked him all the questions, he was very much on board with all the questions. He was like, yeah, okay, that sounds good, I can work with that. But I guess for him, he's more of a hands-on kind of person. So even when I was telling him, hey, my personality type is this, for him it was just, okay, stored away in the back of his mind. He needed to see that's in action. Yeah. But I expected him to have already understood what it means to be an introvert.
I had no idea.
What it means to be a caloric person, a melancholic person, what it means to be, all right then, I like my space, or I like this much space, every day. So for him, he had to be learning. He approached marriage with, I'm gonna learn everything on the job and adjust accordingly. For me, I was like, I already laid out for you what it is that I want marriage to look like for me. And
but part of it too is that we came from 2 different space, completely 2 different space,
2 different backgrounds,
2 different backgrounds.
I would say
culture, so to speak. So yeah, so we didn't. It's not like we were next to each other where we can interact and see each other and see how each other.
And in our last episode, we spoke about things that we missed being long distance. So we wouldn't really realize how much I enjoyed being alone. For example, when I came here and I spent a lot of time alone, he was like, okay, something's wrong with her. You need to go out and make friends. And I'm like, no, dude, I'm enjoying me. I'm enjoying my solitude. Okay. So I like that.
And one of the things that is that I want to make sure that when she comes here, you know, she wasn't going to be like this depressive person and just kind of
and clingy.
and clingy.
Yeah,
I didn't want that.
He was worried that I was gonna be clingy.
And you know, because she didn't have any family here, I'm the only one. So and I needed to go do what I needed to do. So I was making sure that you know, she was able to function on her own.
And,
without.
And now that we're married, there are times I'm telling him, you need to leave the house. Like I need to be home by myself right now.
Yeah.
I'm throwing him out. So,
yeah. So
that's taken care of.
But yeah, but overall, we have some challenges. I remember when we were at the last spot where we before we moved here, and the person the person was the landlord. Basically, she was saying stuff about my wife, but I would defend my wife, but she didn't even understand it. How can I defend my wife? But in my estimation, she didn't do anything wrong, so I had to defend her. And I think that during all that time kind of helped us to grow. We grew closer together.
Because by then he would have known my character and the things that the landlord would have said.
And a lot of it didn't make no sense.
Didn't make any sense. You know, but it worked out, and we saw. So it was like us against the world kind of thing, and we came closer. So I think that was a good experience.
Yeah, it was a good experience.
One that we never want to experience again.
No,
but
ever.
But lesson learned.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. Another thing is, did you have any expectations when it came on to sex?
I think we said maybe once a week or something like that. That's what it works. That's what I said. Once a month.
What? No, once a which month?
Okay, what was it? What did he say? What?
We said as often as possible.
Oh, okay.
What? Because
that could have been once a week. Possibly could have been once a week.
Who gonna be married, sir? Who gonna be single and be waiting and want to have sex once a month? Anyhow, when we were courting, we discussed as often as possible. Now that we're married, as often as possible.
Could be once a week.
It's
once a month.
Yeah. Yeah. So for anyone who is single and thinking about getting married for sex, please don't do that. Because things happen, and if it's just the sex, there are going to be things thrown at you. Life comes at you fast. So you have to make sure that you're married to your friend, so that when the sex doesn't happen,
you're okay.
You're okay.
Yeah.
You're okay. And that comes with having a pure mind from your single.
Absolutely.
Right? Sometimes it just doesn't happen. And I thought, my single friends and I thought, okay, it's going to happen every night, and we have our lingerie picked out and all. But life, when you start working,
life is not like life is not an ABC.
No,
you know what I mean?
Not.
There's A, Z, X, Y, Z,
right.
and it's all over the place.
It happens, so you have to ensure that you're married to
you're
your
mature
friend.
enough. Yeah, you're mature enough to deal with the nuances of life. That everything is not going to happen the way that you expect it to happen. So. But you know, like you said, when you're friends, it's extremely important. That will help a lot.
Yeah.
When things aren't necessarily going as planned.
Yeah, as magical as it is, you realize that hey, it's really the icing on the cake. So if you don't get the icing, the foundation, the rest of the cake is so nutritious. I didn't even really miss the icing, and when I finally get the icing, it's like okay, yeah.
All right. So what else we have to tell the folks before we check out?
So I think that's all the questions for now. If you have a question for us that you like us to go into, don't be afraid. To all our subscribers, just type your question down here and we'll definitely answer them.
Like, share, subscribe,
and we'll
comment on our post as well. And we'll see
you
in the next one. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.